Hello YouTube, Blackjack here with the Guns, and More Guns channel, and today we bring you another episode of the Dollar Gun Store series. Today we're going to be reviewing for episode 2 the EAA SAR B6P, and this is a SARS Milaz. I probably just totally butchered that name, but that's the manufacturer, imported by European American Armory out down there in Florida. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. One of the first things I notice about the gun, since we're going to be discussing cost first, is that it comes in a nice plastic case, and you guys know that I'm a little neurotic about my plastic cases. You're also going to get a lock, which is kind of cool. A nice booklet, which has a warning on the front, which we're going to get into that here in a second. A little deal for your swab, you know, you can put your little swabs in there, and this like shag carpet kind of bore brush. And let's not forget the most important part, the gun. Comes with 115. I said 17 because when it lists on the website it listed 17, but it's a 15 round magazine and the gun. All said and told, everything you just saw I picked up from the Sportsman Guide for $259, I believe it was, which puts it really kind of high on the cost spectrum. We'll just say it's $260 to make it nice and even. So at a maximum of 300 that we set is the criteria for the series. 260 is kind of high up there, giving the B6P a 1.5 of 5 stars on the cost. Moving into fit and finish. The fit and finish of the gun isn't bad. It's good, but it's not great. One of the things that I saw in another review that I did not think was going to bother me as much as it did were these freaking just ginormous billboards on the side of the gun that say, since 1880, SAR B6P, made in Turkey, and all this crazy stuff over here, Cocoa, Florida, and it's just kind of like, man, dude, like, why did you do that? I guess that could be fixed with some stippling. I may or may not decide to do that and just, you know, kind of stipple that up and give it a little texture, you know, kind of maybe change it up a little bit, but I'm not gonna get into that quite yet. There's also a few places where I found, you know, like some plastic shavings from, I'm guessing, the manufacturing process. So again, you know, not terrible. It does have some really nice sights on it. I'll try to show you those real quick. Sights are real good, you know, has a good feel to it. So fit and finish, we're going to go ahead and give it a 3 of 5 stars, despite the fact that I feel like it's got some like big, huge like NASCAR sponsor stickers on the side of the gun. So moving into the magazine capacity. This one's pretty quick because for the purposes of these reviews, we like to see a 10 round is considered good. This is a 15 round magazine, 5 of 5 stars magazine capacity. Caliber. Remember when I told you about that warning on the booklet earlier? Let me see if I can get it closer. And this says, do not use plus P ammo or high velocity, high pressure ammunition, factory or hand loaded. To me, that's kind of a bummer because 9mm 40 and 45 is what we're considering the gold standard for the purposes of this series. This being a 9mm would otherwise net it a 5 of 5 for caliber, but because you can't use plus P ammunition, it does limit that a little bit. So we decided to go ahead and give it a 4 of 5 stars for caliber because of the fact, once again, that you're sort of limited to standard ball type ammo, which, you know, I personally doesn't bother me, but keep that in mind if you're shopping around and you're maybe looking at this gun. So finally, for the last category on the tabletop here is our usability category. And this is where I think that the gun has some really great advantages. This gun, in my opinion, would be if I were on a really tight budget and maybe I just didn't have the 300 to spend or 300 plus to spend, and, you know, maybe I just had around 250 to spend and I needed an all-purpose shit hit the fan kind of, you know, home defense gun. This would be a great solution for that, because obviously it's got, you know, your good magazine capacity, it's a good caliber. The gun feels really good. It feels like it'd be really easy to use. I love the safety is really not terribly difficult to switch off, even though I don't have necessarily like ginormous freaking hands. So it feels good and all that kind of good stuff. You can also, I've heard people saying that they carry this gun. Well, read online, so take that for what it's worth. Some people would say they conceal carry the gun. I would never carry a full-size handgun like this, but to each their own. The holster situation for it, because, you know, I'm kind of a big holster guy. This is kind of just like your standard, like, mil-spec, like soft, I don't even know what the hell the correct definition of this is, just sort of a soft holster for a full-size handgun. Anything that has like this sort of like adjustable type of setup would probably fit this handgun just fine. I think Alien Gear makes a Kydex for it, but I don't know that I would go that route. But you could get these things at pretty much any military surplus store for next to nothing. I got mine for free. All I had to do was join the army. Magazines. This is a Mekgar magazine for a CZ75B. This magazine fits the gun just fine. Locks up. Drops free. Holds the slide back. I'm guessing it'll probably cycle just fine too, but you know, we'll find that out on the range. So you can get other magazines for these CZ75B magazines. Keep in mind that this is the floor plate that originally came with it, and you can see this is one of those real thick ones, and what's on it right now is one of the thin ones. This is a floor plate from a Ruger P95, an old extended P95 magazine that I had. Fits it just fine. I have an M9 and some kind of just general issue military surplus M9 mags. I put one of those floor plates on here, also work just fine. If you do look at these Mekgar magazines and they do have this kind of fat floor plate, keep in mind that you'll need an extra floor plate, because with the fat floor plate on, that's kind of a tongue twister there, it does not lock up into the gun. It will not. I mean, I'm sure you could shave it down if you really wanted to, but I just don't have that kind of patience, especially with a spare magazine bin laying around. So the usability, all said and told, I mean, for what it is and what you can do with it, we're going to go ahead and we're going to give this a 4 of 5 stars. Finally, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this bad boy out to the range. I'd like to, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't know exactly what type of scenario we're going to try to run this pistol through, but I would like to try to think of something that's a little more maybe realistic, you know, real world application type of use for it, not just can it punch holes in paper and how far can it punch holes in paper and how accurate is it and things like that. So, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to that. Speaking of paper, on paper, this gun looks great so far, and it's one that I'll probably actually end up keeping in my collection, you know, pending this range review, because I do like the way it feels, and I do feel like this has got a place in my collection with all the handguns that I already have. I definitely make room in the safe for this, so I'm really excited to get out there and do the range review. We're going to go ahead and get packed up and head out. See you guys there. Hey guys, Blackjack here with the Guns, and More Guns channel. Today we're going to do the range review of our SAR B6P. We're going to go ahead and, like in our other reviews, we're going to take the first 2 mags and we're going to go ahead and we're going to run through some nice aimed shots. This one that I have here is the magazine that came with the gun. And as you saw in the tabletop review, it only came with 1 magazine. And Kruger's got the second magazine, which is an actual Mekgar CZ75B mag. So we'll get it loaded up, we'll see how it groups, and then we're going to do kind of a little bit of a combat shooting from a barricade, kind of test how it performs that way. So let's get it done. All right, I'm going to be shooting at the top right circle. Alright, so I probably could have slowed that down a lot, but I can tell you that this gun shoots remarkably well. The recoil is incredibly tame, and I should have mentioned before I started shooting that was the Wolf Polyformance ammo, and that was fresh out of the box. This gun, that was the first time this firearm had been shot, and was using the Wolf ammo. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. I can tell you it wasn't that great, but you know, I was kind of shooting a little bit fast, so I'm sure if Kruger loads it up and he takes his time aiming, he could probably fucking nail almost all of them pretty close. So let's go ahead and let's get the shooter changed up and let's get it done.
All right, Kruger here, and I am shooting the CZ75B magazine, and I'll tell you guys, I am excited about shooting this handgun. I really like it a lot. And I haven't even shot it yet, and I love it already. But let's put some rounds down range, see how the groupings look. I'm going to be shooting for, I'll do bottom left. All right, let's go see how we did. Seems like once I got that first shot down, I was shooting real low and to the left. And then once I could bring it up, it was just keeping the pistol on target. And then, you know, it wasn't that bad of a group at all. You know, for her first time shooting the pistol. I don't know. All right, let's have some fun. Woo! Fun.
All right, guys. So we're just gonna go ahead and leave you with some of our final thoughts on the SAR B6P. One, I will say I highly recommend this handgun. Again, I picked this up for around $260, and this is a very nice shooting handgun. As a matter of fact, if I play with this a little more, this actually may become my favorite pistol. So we'll see. But you know, very nice to handle. All the controls are really great. You know, as you saw when I did my my shoot from the barricade, I thought I had a stoppage, but actually the magazine was empty. But it ran through the CZ75B mag, and as well as the one that came with it just fine. And again, we were shooting the Wolf Polyformance ammo.
Definitely a pleasant gun to shoot. I like the sights on it. The slide serrations are nice, gives you a nice purchase for racking the slide. It's just a great overall gun around. You know, it stays on target really nice once you shoot. You know, follow-up shots are real easy. I mean, it's just a pleasant gun to shoot. Very nice pistol.
Yeah, definitely recommend checking out the B6P if you can get your hands on it. I got nothing bad to say about it. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and we'll see you back at the shop for some final thoughts. Take care.
Alright guys, so you just saw the final, or our little range review that we had here. I want to just kind of finish this up. So you can see the gun looks a little bit differently than it did last time. You might have seen it on the table. That's because I did a little bit of stippling here. That's just to kind of give the gun a little bit of a better purchase. I got bored the other day and, you know, kind of got to it. It's now pretty much right in the middle of winter here, so it's not a whole lot else to do right now. I do want to do a real quick takedown on this and leave you with some final thoughts. So in order to take it down, of course, you're going to remove the magazine, drop the safety. Of course, you make sure it's not loaded. Duh. Now you see there's two little dots right there. I'm going to try to get you in on those a little bit. Line those two up, and you're going to have, and I probably should have gotten a punch ready, but I'll just kind of knock that little guy out. The gun comes apart in two pieces. Remove your spring, remove your barrel, and get to cleaning. It's that simple. And then to reassemble it, as you might imagine, very easy. Nothing too difficult here. The only thing that is kind of funky is because the slide is a little bit inside the receiver, lower itself a little bit. It does kind of feel a little weird sometimes to put it back in. Put that guy back in. You're good to go. So last thing I want to leave you with is yesterday I did have this thing out on the range again. And it was the last time I had been on the range. It's been about, I don't know, about 3 months have passed since we did the actual range review to the last time that I shot, to this last time that I shot it. I had a brand new shooter, a guy who's only ever fired one gun before yesterday, have at this thing, and he loved it. So, you know, again, the recommendation of the SAR B6P stands. If you guys are out there looking for a handgun to get, I would highly recommend this, especially for the price point.